The Kuva Bramma is easily one of my favorite weapons of all time. It's not just strong, it is incredibly fun to play with. This is my Kuva Bramma Annihilator build. If you want to skip to the build right now, then be sure to refer to the timestamp displayed on your screen right now. So let's talk about my Kuva Bramma's stats and what does it do and how to get one for yourself. Let's start off with getting the weapon. If you want to obtain yourself a Kuva Bramma, all you need to do is just load into Cassini Saturn and find for a Kuva larva. Just capture the target, wait for your screen to flash and kill a few greenier enemies. It's kind of like the same system to spawn the Juggernaut, but it's for Kuva Liches instead. When you have killed enough enemies, this Kuva Guardian will have a short dialogue and the waypoint to the Kuva larva will be displayed on the screen. Just follow the waypoint and kill that thing and you will see the weapon of your Kuva Lich on top of it. If the weapon shown is not what you want, then just ignore the Kuva larva, go to extraction and then repeat this mission. For this case, if you want the Kuva Bramma, just keep doing these steps until you see the icon above his head, just like the footage shown. And here's another very important thing. The Warframe that you use to kill the Kuva larva will determine the extra damage type on your weapon. For example, if I use Frost to kill the Kuva larva, I will get cold damage on my Kuva Bramma. Said cold element will become your Kuva weapon's extra innate damage type. If you want to see the entire list of what Warframes will give what status effects, you can pause the video to read all of this, but I highly recommend you guys to just check out the link in the description below. It will bring you to a Warframe wiki page which shows this. Now, let's take a look at the Kuva Bramma. For those who don't know, this is a bow that can shoot out cluster bomb arrows and will explode on impact, and then it will spread into more bombs and more explosions, which is basically what the term cluster bomb means. Looking at the base stats, we have 35% crit chance, very high, 2.1 crit multiplier and 21% status chance. Perfect for a hybrid build. Now let's take a look at my Kuva Bramma roll. This is my Kuva Bramma with 40% hit damage in it. It is very recommended to just take another Kuva Bramma and valence fusion them together so you get more damage. But it is a pain in the ass to farm for another Kuva Bramma, so just pray to RNG that you will get a high percentage on your Kuva weapon. For my Kuva Bramma, I'm using heat damage. You can of course use other Warframes to get other elements on your Kuva Bramma, but I really recommend you guys to just take either heat, cold or toxin. For example, my Kuva Bramma with heat damage, instead of using 3 slots to make up my viral plus heat combo, I can just save up on 1 mod slot and just make viral damage, and the heat damage will just come from the weapon itself. So the other mod slot we have freed up will be used for something else, for example Hunter Munitions or maybe Argon Scope, I don't know, just any mod of your choice. If you have cold damage, then your build might slightly vary, same goes for toxin. And of course you don't have to use heat, cold or toxin damage, you can go outside the scope, for example electricity, magnetic or radiation damage. But please do not get a roll that has impact damage on it. It is one of the worst elements you can use on a Kuva weapon. It's better to just get other elements so that you can save up on 1 or 2 slots. And talking about slots, let's just jump right into the build. This is my 2 Forma Kuva Bramma build. Hey Ari, why only 2 Formas? It's because it's more than enough. If you want to get all the mastery XP, like just juicing out everything, then you can go ahead and Forma it 5 times, but I find it unnecessary to do so. So let's take a look at the important mods first, which would be Serration. It increases your base damage and that's pretty much it. Point Strike and Vital Sense would give you more crit potential, making your Kuva Bramma stand out, deal more damage and especially bigger damage numbers, which is always very satisfying to see, like the first clip I showed you guys. Moving on, we have the 2 dual stat mods in here, which would be Malignant Forest and Rime Rounds. This will make up viral damage, which will increase your damage against health for 6 seconds. By stacking viral damage on enemies, you can get up to 3 times more damage towards HP, which is actually pretty amazing considering that the Kuva Bramma can already proc or just stack status effects many times in a single shot. Next, we have Split Chamber and Vigilante Ornaments. These two will give you up to 2.5 multi-shot, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what it does. It generally increases your status chance and giving yourself a huge increase in DPS, because more arrows are fired at once, simple as that. And then we have Hunter Munitions. This will give you a chance to proc extra slash damage on enemies whenever you crit. With this build, we have 87.5% crit chance. Our Hunter Munitions mod can greatly benefit from that. So almost every time you land a shot on an enemy, you are just going to proc extra slash damage on them, which would deal true damage, bypassing armor and shields, taking out these enemies more quickly and efficiently, which is why slash damage master race, which will be demonstrated in the benchmarks later. And then finally we have Vigilante Supplies, which is going to go very well with Vigilante Ornaments. So this mod is very similar to those ammo mutation mods, where it just takes a certain type of ammo and converts it into the one that you are using right now. Another thing is, because this mod is a set mod, it can go well with Vigilante Ornaments, which can enhance critical hits from your weapons. Now what does it mean by enhancing critical hits? Basically, it just ups the tiers of your critical hits. If you constantly hit yellow crits, you now have a chance to hit orange ones instead. And same goes from orange to red. The only time where you can hit red crits with the Kuva Bramma is when you use Warframes that can buff critical chance. For example, a Teeming Virulence Nidus or Harrow, or you can just use a crit buff from Kavats. This would hugely increase your DPS because you have more crit potential. But still, without those things mentioned, you can still do pretty well with this setup. Finally, I do want to point out that the Excellence mod slot is something that is up to personal preference. If you don't find yourself going into ammo issues oftenly, then you can swap it out for other things. You might need to Forma it one more time, but still, I don't think it's that hard to farm XP for this weapon, especially when it can kill enemies so easily even at level 0. Finally, I do want to point out that sometimes when you kill enemies, you might not have enough damage to finish them all. Again, like in the first clip, I had to use 2 shots to get rid of all of the enemies. That's because this weapon has some sort of damage fall off depending on the explosion radius. As you can see, the range is only 8.3 meters. If you go and shoot an enemy that is like few meters away from the center of impact, it will deal lesser damage. So that's why having something like Arcane Rage is going to improve your DPS by a hell lot. You don't actually need to aim at the head to proc Arcane Rage, you just need to shoot it randomly and hope that the explosions can hit the head and it will proc Arcane Rage easily. This happens almost all the time, so you don't have to worry about it not proccing. And that's pretty much it for the build. So let's go straight to the benchmarks, because there is no other better way for me to describe how strong this build is. We have the usual victims, which will be corrupted enemies at level 155, and a mix of Corpus enemies in their Eximus forms, except for the Corpus tech. And yeah, let's get started. And that's it for today's video. Thank you everyone for watching. If you guys liked it, then be sure to leave a like, write a nice comment, and please consider subscribing. If you guys want to support or upkeep this channel, then you can visit my Patreon page in the link in the description below. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Goodbye.